Hi everyone, my name is Victoria. The claim that I'm going to be responding to today is that pork causes significant health problems when consumed. The other advocates' secondary claims were that toxins in pig meat are higher than other meat sources. Number 2, pigs are the natural garbage trucks of the earth. They will eat anything. And number 3, pork carries parasites and carries diseases. In response to the first claim, there's a tertiary claim that says pigs digest their food in about 4 hours or less, leaving behind most of the toxins that are then absorbed into the tissue of the pig, which end up being consumed by humans and causing health problems. However, despite having the toxins in their body, pigs are safe for human consumption. My point on that: the liver and the kidneys of the pigs work in the same way that human livers and kidneys do. They filter out the toxins of the body and help to pass toxins out of the body, according to a study it's called animals.me.com. Another point on that is that in an extensive experiment done in Serbia to test the effects of toxins in pork, it was a really, really long study, a bunch of chemicals and whatnot, but it came to the conclusion that saying that the consumption of average amounts of pork meat and meat byproducts, which include internal organs of the liver, kidney, heart, and lungs, do not pose a health risk for the consumer. So essentially it's saying that with moderation, as you would with any other food product, pork is safe for our consumption. And for my next point, I'm going to just be questioning one of the pieces of evidence used in their second claim. The evidence used to support the claim that pigs are the natural garbage trucks suggests that, this was about the sweat glands. In that article used, it actually was a whole article about debunking these myths, and one of the quotes specifically says that they put the misconception, and then it says the pig is the only animal that does not sweat or perspire, thus meaning the sweat and toxins merge in the flesh. However, they prove that false by saying that pigs have sweat glands, but they're not excretory sweat glands, so it's not to get rid of them. They're more used as a scent gland. So yeah, the evidence used in the original claim was proving their point, the opposite of their point. My third claim that I'm going to be saying today is that they make the claim that there is no safe temperature you can cook pig to get rid of the parasites, their cysts, and eggs. However, pork can be cooked safely at 145 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the rarity of the meat that you want to eat. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, it recommends cooking ground pork patties and ground pork mixtures, such as like a meatloaf, at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can cook all the other organs as well, like the heart, liver, kidney, and tongue, at 160 as well. If you wanted to cook it at 145, you would use a meat thermometer to make sure that it's coming off correctly, and that you would allow the meat to rest for 3 minutes before you carve it or consume it. So in conclusion, it's safe to say that pork is safe for human consumption based off of the fact that the toxins are removed safely from the body using the liver and kidneys of the pig. The evidence in one of the claims was proving the opposite of my my opponent's claim, and then pork can be safely cooked at 145 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit and making it safe for consumption for humans. Thank you.
Well, the advocate's argument is laid out and structured pretty clearly. You go to the first point and you basically challenge immediately some of the assumptions that are being presented there by talking about the way that the kidney and livers function in pigs, and I guess that makes sense. I don't know that the advocate suggested in any way that their evidence showed that there was a danger. I don't remember what evidence they presented, so it seems like in contrasting this, we need a little bit more information, but the argument that you presented suggesting that this process is the normal way that things work, and it's that way for all animals. That seems pretty reasonable. The strongest or most convincing piece of evidence that you have in your argument is that next piece of evidence, the study from Serbia, which you did say was a little complicated to read. Almost all research like that is complicated to read, by the way. So, I mean, it's very tough for lay people to get through some that kind of research. But it sounds like you found that the summary at the end explains, in essence, as long as you were operating in moderation, there's unlikely to be any particular problem. I think that would, like I said, that's a pretty good piece of information. I don't remember what kind of information the advocates used to suggest that there was a danger, whether they had any examples or medical research that showed that there was a danger. One of the things that you want to do when you are doing the summary, which you did a pretty good job summarizing what your argument is you're not summarizing what the comparison is. So you want to say, the advocate presented no indication that anybody has been harmed from consuming pork products. And this study that I've presented shows that it's unlikely that anybody would be harmed. So there's an absence of evidence over there. The evidence that we do have suggests that it's perfectly safe. So the position that I'm taking is the one that makes the most sense for people to follow. And you're kind of doing that, but like I said, you need to make more reference to the information that the other side is presenting. The sweat glands thing, I understand that you're kind of twisting. I don't want to say twisting. You're taking the evidence that the advocate used and showing us how it really seems to suggest the opposite of what the advocate is saying because it's debunking a particular thing. I'm still not sure how it is that either of those things matter to the health or safety of the meat product. And I think there could be a little bit more explanation of that. It's always nice when you get something and say, hey, here's something that goes the opposite of what they've said. I want to use that. But what does that get you? Remember, we talked about that. What's the impact of this argument in the long run? And I'm not exactly sure I know what the impact of the argument here is. And then the last section basically just consists of the guidelines that the USDA or the whichever, I guess it is USDA has for preparing pork products, which I guess is fine. I don't remember that there was a comment from the USDA that says that this will make it safe for people to consume. I just remember that they recommend at these particular temperatures if it's ground or if it's, you want it cooked a particular way or use a thermometer. So does that ensure that it's going to be safe and problematic? I'm not sure that you said that in your argument. All right. I assume that that's probably what it means. But again, you don't want us to be making assumptions. You want to lead us to the conclusion so that we see exactly what you're seeing. All right. Thank you.